From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China, and back to the streets of Las Vegas where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show we talk about what you think about but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry, we'll voice it for you. We talk about it all. No holds barred radio. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, UFC, politics, film, TV, you name it, we're talking about it. And today I'm here with my co-host, again, forever and in the past and in the future, TJ DeSantis. TJ.
Hi. How are you? I might sound a little different on this podcast today.
You do or I do?
I do, maybe. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I got a new like a mixer. So hopefully it all works out.
Hey, you sound fine to me. You're fine, TJ. You're fine.
I think
You're
I'm
not,
good. Do I sound good? I sound normal?
That's a little different.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
All right, move it back before I slap you over the radio, okay?
Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Listen, you're an icon. It's written all over your chest, so we'll believe it.
Right.
All right, well, here we are. Listen, we're here with one of the youngest fighters ever to fight in the UFC. He lost that title when Raul Rosa came on the scene, but let's not take away from the fact that this man's had 7 fights in the UFC. He's gone from featherweight to lightweight in his last fight, which he just won in the octagon. So let's bring on the dream, Chase Hooper. Chase, how are you?
Hey, doing good. Like I said, enjoying a little bit of nice weather we have up here. Not very often, mostly rain, but trying to keep my tan. What little bit of it I have.
You got your tan. I think you got a little shiner there on your left eye too to go with it, right?
Yeah, the perks of getting in a fist fight.
What's your wife feel about black eyes, Chase? Does she get like a little more enamored with you when you look like a badass?
I remember there was one time, it was after the Contender Series, where she was kind of like disgusted with me a little bit.
Oh no.
Like not it sounds bad when I say that. I don't want to trash talk her, but because both of my eyes were black, and I think like one of her family friends had just had a baby too, and it was like the first time the baby had probably ever seen somebody like that, and the baby just started crying.
Oh no.
She was like, I just can't look at you right now. I was like,
So, Chase,
fair enough. Post fight,
okay.
little swollen up, black eyes and all that, but no, I think a little bit like this looks nice right now.
Hey, you know what the saying goes, girls love scars, so maybe they love black eyes too. But
Yeah.
Chase, you're 23 years old. How old were you when you got married?
This August we're going on 2 years, so I was 21 at the time, about to turn 22.
Oh, congratulations. That's very cool.
Yeah, he does everything young, Buff. Like youngest fighter at the time in the UFC.
Fighter,
like
father,
yeah.
husband.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of stability in a career like this. Like this sport is just so wild that you need something to ground you back at home,
Yeah, exactly. Well, you immediately got grounded when you entered Dana White's Contender Series and made a name for yourself on that one. When you're winning your unanimous decision. And then right after your first fight, you got the league contract, right? Or you got a development league contract. Which was it?
Yeah, they gave me the developmental deal, which honestly was perfect. I wasn't happy at the time. I mean, I was happy to get a deal for sure, but I remember being disappointed after that fight. I wanted to finish. I think before that, I'd only won one other fight by decision. Like every other fight from amateur and pro were all finishes. But I was disappointed. But I was getting stitched up in the back, and I remember Dana came in and was like, "Hey, that was a hell of a fight, kid." Like he tends to say, but the doctor was like, "Hey, that's probably a good sign." Like I've never seen him come back here yet, so that was nice. But I mean, the developmental deal was really what I needed, like giving me the time to kind of develop a little more on the local scene and on UFC Fight Pass here. Still getting a little bit of the media side of things, but not like the full blast of like a UFC fight week, which is overwhelming. Like whether you're prepared for it or not, it's a whole lot of stuff. And until it's, like now 6-7 fights, I'm starting to get used to it, but it's a lot all at once to go from, fighting at a local casino, like 30 minutes from your house, to now you got to fly out to Las Vegas for this whole week. You're doing pictures, you're doing press conference stuff, interviews. It's just such a huge production. And I mean, that's what the UFC does such a good job at. Like it's so professional, but it's such a quick jump from the local circuit right to there.
It's a big jump, and get ready for even a bigger jump, because as you get more popular and as you start winning more fights, it's just going to be more so. But that's all part of the game, Chase. I mean, the
Definitely.
quality, and as I always say, my respect for fighters is not just what they do in the octagon, but to be the role model that I hope and I can see that you're growing into for all the young fans watching. It's about how you handle yourself outside the octagon too. And you can see the fighters that are very popular, not so popular, that don't do a good job of handling themselves outside the octagon. So
Yeah.
I just a little bit of suggestion I can give you is just keep going at the pace you're going and just improve, and your evolutionary process will be a very valuable one. You know, when you came into the first UFC at UFC 245, and you know you won by knockout, a TKO against Daniel Tamer, then immediately at 250, not immediately, but obviously four pay-per-views later, five pay-per-views later, Alex Caceres, you know, a very long-time veteran of the UFC, and
Yeah.
you lost that fight by unanimous decision. How you know, just as an insight into you as a human being, obviously after winning a fight, the adulation, the feeling you get, the powerful feeling, I can imagine what it feels like. How was it for you losing that fight against Alex Caceres? Did that affect you strongly? Did it learn from it, which I assume you did? How'd you handle that one? Was it too much, too little, or are you just onward and upward?
I mean, the nice thing was growing up doing jiu-jitsu competitions. Like I've went to worlds, like the world championships for jiu-jitsu, and lost. And and I've won the Pan Americans, which is again another really high level tournament. So it was nice to not, like, that wasn't my first time losing ever. I mean, it was my first professional loss, but against a veteran, like he has, or at the time he had more fights in UFC than I had years of being alive.
Right.
Like that was his 22nd UFC fight, and I was like 20 still. Um, so I mean, it's just such a veteran like that. But that's just how deep the pool goes in UFC. You can go from, one fight, and then now you're fighting this guy that has 20 fights with the company. It's crazy, but I mean, obviously it changed a lot about how I felt. Like you obviously have like a lot of cockiness coming in when you are undefeated. You win your debut first round, and you're like, all right, I guess I'm pretty good at this. Like I can keep going, see how far the limit goes. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're all here for. Like you're in the UFC, like you're competing at this level to see how good you are. Like
Right.
either you're gonna find out how good you are, or you're gonna regret not going that far and not testing yourself. Like win or lose, you're testing yourself, and you're trying to see how good your skill set is against some of the best in the world. And obviously it sucked, and I mean, I wasn't happy with getting beat up by Caceres, but he's a great guy. I've talked to him since, and
Very cool.
I have a lot of respect for him. I did before the fight, and I have even more for him now.
Good, good, perfect answer. That's the attitude that I love to hear and I like to hear. And kudos to you, my man.
Appreciate it.
Your next fight was Steven Peterson over there at UFC 263. Now, an interesting note there: when you go up against a fighter and you're making weight, which we all know that process of making weight is very difficult or just as tedious as hell, right?
Yeah.
Then you come up against a fighter who weighs in over 3.5 pounds overweight. What's your impression of a fighter that doesn't come in and make weight?
I mean, I think my sentiment about missing weight is kind of the same as the UFC's. Is that that's literally the base level of professionalism in the sport.
Right.
That's what your first check is for. Your first
Right.
check is for making weight. So if you can't do that, obviously that's why you get some of your money taken. But it's like you're not even doing the basics. That's like I really like Paul Felder. Like he always
We all
talks about
do.
it. Like he has a zero weight miss policy. He never missed weight, even short notice fights. But that's just again, that's being professional. And we're all professionals here, so you gotta make that weight. And that I think it usually shows like a mental deficiency in a lot of guys, unless you can tell that they're, you know, on death's door trying to make weight.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's more of a mental side that they're like, I don't want to go back in the sauna. Like this last weight cut, I didn't want to go back in the sauna at, I woke up at 3 a.m. to finish my cutoff. I didn't want to get back in the sauna. And then I did, and I still had a pound to go. And I was like, I don't want to get back in there again. But I
Right.
did it. And that's just, that's again, base level of professionalism. You have to do it.
Absolutely.
It's
Do you
whether
think
you
that a
like it or
fighter,
not.
Absolutely. And do you think a fighter coming in at, obviously you all gain 10, 20 pounds, depending on the situation after you weigh in, but do you think a fighter coming in at 148.5 gives him an advantage before that, during that 24-hour period before the fight?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to the max for like depleting our bodies. And 3 pounds is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a little more than that even on the next day after. I mean, I had some issues going to that camp anyways, and then to have a guy miss weight doesn't help the situation. I mean, that fight kind of sucked because I didn't feel that I got beat by a guy that was better. I felt that I didn't come correctly to the fight, but you know, I'd had a long time off. Financially, I needed to do it, and
Right.
you know, that's how it works. That's how the business works.
Have you won a bonus yet in the UFC?
Yeah, not my last fight, but I guess 2 fights ago, I got my first bonus. That was wild.
That had to be a while because I know they pay you. And again, I'm not asking you to release your payday, but the minimum, if I'm not incorrect, TJ, correct me if I'm wrong. On the undercard, the minimum pay is 10,000 to win, 10,000 to show, 10,000 to win. Is that still
It's more than that, I believe. I believe the new entry deal for the UFC is like something like 12 and 12. But
12 and 12. So
yeah, you're in the ballpark.
$50,000 bonus is a life changer. It's just like it was a life changer for Conor McGregor back in his
Yeah,
early
I mean,
career.
the idea when I hear life changer, I hear like forever your life has changed. I don't think $50,000 is going to forever change anybody's
momentary,
life. But
momentary
no, I mean,
life changer.
you want to talk about a 180 in your life in that moment? Absolutely. Like you're going to be on cloud 9.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, it allowed us to you know, feel comfortable in buying our first house.
That's huge.
Oh,
that
you.
kind of
You know,
is a
having
life
that-
changer.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
but then it kind of came back around, and that's pretty much how much I ended up owing in taxes this year. So, you know, it comes back to you, and that's
Yeah. Hey,
that's just how it goes.
Let me tell you something, Chase. If you ever go on a game show, you know, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden you win that car, right?
Yeah.
Well, you win that tax bill. Okay, $50,000 car, 25,000, whatever it is, 15, 20,000 in taxes. It's like, did I really want to win that car? You know,
No,
depending
for
on your
sure.
financial situation.
I've actually
Yeah.
heard that, like on The Price is Right, that people end up winning all that stuff and then just forfeit a lot of it or take like a cash check because it just doesn't make sense. They can't
I
afford
always
to pay
wonder
the,
what it's
the
like on
tax
Let's
bill.
Make a Deal when you get the curtain that has the elephant behind it. Do you really win the elephant?
No, I mean,
what
I
is that
think
all about?
you say no, thank you. I'm good. I don't need an
Yeah, I'm
elephant. I
good.
can't take care of an elephant.
Can't even
Yeah.
afford to feed it, for God's sake. Jeez.
Get the cash value of the elephant. That's the move for sure.
There you go.
So, Chase, aside from your career inside the octagon, this is one thing I always like to talk about with fighters. I created a company called, or co-founded a company called Millions.co, Millions Co., which you may or may not have heard of. The Shevchenko sisters, Borchino, you know, so many different people are on it. And we create merchandise for them, and they have the videos and like Cameo to do for their fan base and all that, because I'm trying to show people how to create revenue streams for them aside from just fighting for that night, that paycheck you get that night you walk in the octagon. What else do you do in your life? And feel free to check it out. I'd love to have you on Millions.co. I think it'd be great for you. And if you reach out to me from TJ, and I'll put you in connection with my associate who can set everything up for you. It's no cost to you. Have your own merch line, have everything. It's just check it out. It's really amazing. But aside from shilling from my company, do you have other sources of revenue, or is it strictly your fight? I mean, do you have to work, and do you hold a second job, or is it basically devotion entirely to your career?
No, I mean, that's the beautiful thing is I've never had another job besides fighting. I managed to kind of skate by with before Contender Series, paying all my bills with just you know, like local fight money, which is, you know, a couple $1,000s per fight, not much. But I'm starting to kind of diversify that a little bit, trying to, you know, like I train people at the gym just because, again, it's like I have such an open schedule anyways. Doing like private lessons and stuff, making decent money on that. I'm
Right.
trying to get into like the Airbnb side of things. I'm trying to get some rental properties here. I'm trying to because I think they said like after buying a house, you probably want to wait a year before you start trying to get another loan like that. So I'm trying to get into that side of things and really diversify it so that I can, again, like make money, not just with getting beat up.
What
Very
about
smart.
like seminars, like jujitsu guys like yourself? I mean, by the way, you know, I always like to say this, but I want to say this to Bruce. Bruce, I called a couple of Chase's, I think one of Chase's fights on that developmental deal on Fight Pass, and his jujitsu was so good. He won a 10-8 round, in my opinion, off of his back, which doesn't happen in MMA.
Right.
It's hard to win a round, let alone a 10-8 round
Right.
off your back. Are you doing seminars, Chase? Have you gotten the opportunity to travel and teach jujitsu?
I'm really trying to do a lot more now, actually, but I think my first one is going to be here in August or September, and like a Half Gracie school out in Idaho. So that'll be
Nice.
cool, kind of close to home. But yeah, I'd really like to start jumping on that, especially between fights. It's like I'm young, but I feel like I get a decent amount of respect, especially from like the jiu-jitsu community, because like the nice thing with fighting and with really bearing your all in you're literally fighting in your underwear. So
Right.
people can really see like the type of person you are, and they can see the skill set that you have. So it's nice to have that on the resume where people are like, oh, I don't know if this guy's legit or not. And it's like, hey, watch this fight. And then you can see like, okay, yeah, he has skills, maybe I'd like to learn from him. And I definitely want to start doing more seminar stuff though.
No, it's smart. But I to comment on the other thing, one of the best investments you can make in life is real estate. If you buy it correctly, within 5 years or less, I mean, the benefits you get, and especially at your age, you'll turn around at 30 years old and go, wow, look at me now, and
Yeah.
Airbnb and rental and income property is very key. But as I always say to everybody, and it's not an original statement, every man has to own his own piece of land, which obviously you achieved by getting your first house. So you know what? Smart. I like it,
Yeah.
Chase.
Thank you.
That's what I want to hear. You got a family to take care of, so you want to prepare for that. So you're on the right direction. Totally on the right direction. As far as your now you've moved from, again, featherweight to lightweight, which is probably one of the most devastating divisions in the UFC with the competition that's up there. Your eyes on the prize. Do you see yourself, and what is your actual goal, to continue fighting, or is like, oh, I got to get a shot at the championship, or no, I need to develop over the next year or two? How do you look at it for yourself?
I mean, part of the thing is getting into the UFC so young is not trying to like sprint to the top. That's where you see a lot of people get, kind of burnt up. Like all their potential gets kind of eaten up, and they take these crazy hard matchups, fighting other top contenders,
Right.
before they're even in their prime. And you see some people get chewed up and spit out a lot sooner than they should have been. But again, it's such a brutal sport, and I have, I still have a lot of time to develop. A lot of people don't reach their prime physically until, late 20s, early 30s. So I still have years until I'm to that point. So it's really trying to take the marathon approach and make the most of the time between fights right now, where I can, again, continue to develop the skill sets, and then, be like, now I'm 23 and this is my 7th fight already in UFC. Most people that come to UFC never get to 7 fights. They never get past 3 or 4.
That's true.
Right.
So it's, it's trying to, build my experience and catch up to some of those guys like Islam, like Volkanovski, these guys that have a crazy amount of fights, like Alex Caceres. These guys that have a ton of fights in UFC, they have a ton of experience. They're in their prime physically. Like I'm playing the catch up game a little bit right now, and hoping to kind of surpass some of those guys at some point. But I mean, that's the goal for everybody. It should be, at least.
Absolutely true. No, very, very true.
Hey, I'm just curious, real quick. Chase, you mentioned never having a job outside of fighting. Like, what's the burnout rate? Like, you got to feel, because I mean, this is a hard sport to succeed in. It's also just a hard sport to maintain in. Like, are you able to sort of get a break in? Because I mean, you're so young, you have so many years into this thing. I just think that motivation at one point or another has got to be sort of hard to get.
Yeah, I mean, my motivation's changed a lot. Like, started off as like an angsty, like teenage kid. I just wanted to beat people up because I didn't have much going for me. I didn't have much self-confidence. And it just, your motivation changes as you age. Like
Right.
now it's, being married and being happy, like having a really solid life where I'm confident. Like I kind of look back at the stuff that I've done, and it's, I have a lot of pride, and I'm able to take a lot of pride because I literally like got to where I am with, my two hands, my
Right.
legs, with my body. But it's, yeah, I mean, everybody gets burnt out a little bit, but I've been doing this since I was 8 years old, training. And I think I've realized that you go through phases a little bit. I kind of have like 6 to 8 month phases where I'll love training, and then 6 to 8 month phases where I'm not a big fan, but I just set my life up in a way to where my schedule's already set.
Right.
Here at 5 p.m., I head to the gym. I train until 7:30. Then I come back home, and then I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to go to the gym at 10 a.m., train. Like, I just set the schedule, and it's not negotiable. I
Right.
think that's where a lot of people kind of falter, is they make it negotiable. They're like, I can just take today off. And that's where they start to fall off, because then they
Right.
see the guys that are there every day. They're getting ahead of you. They start to beat you up. And then you're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to get beat up.
Right.
And then people kind of spiral out like that. And I mean, it's going to be hard for people to get better than me if they're not training more than I am. So
It's true.
Right. Stay ahead of the pack, Chase. Do what you got to do to stay ahead of the pack. That's the best thing I can tell you.
Make them chase you. See?
There we go.
Exactly. Listen, there's a lot of opportunities coming up for you in the UFC. There's a lot of opportunities coming up for you in life, and sponsorship deals coming in at all? Sponsorship deals, like people wanting to or anything?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I think after this last fight, it'll help for sure. But I'm trying to, and even on the local circuit, I was trying to not hop on the sponsorship stuff too early, because I didn't want to be like, okay, I'm gonna sign up with this local company, and then they're gonna pay me, like $100 a month to shill their product.
Right.
And then, it comes to a point where like now, like that's not even worth my time. Like
If anybody offers you $100 a month, you just say no right away. Okay.
No, for sure. And that's the thing, is you have to kind of learn what your rate is and like what you're worth, which is hard. And people, I think a lot of companies will try to get away with just giving you free product, but they don't. I don't know. That's them getting one over on you, because that's a write-off for them, and they don't realize, or they think that you don't realize how expensive advertising truly is.
Right.
Like that's such a huge expense if you want to, get your name out there, get your product out there. And it's just trying to stick out for the holdout, I guess, for the companies that are worthwhile. And that's our, quality products, obviously, too.
You know what? I'm going to say this before we say goodbye to you, Chase. I'm always enamored when I meet a young fighter that has a really solid head on their shoulders. And that's exactly what you're showing all of us right now. And I praise you for it.
I appreciate it.
Solid. You must have a good family background. You obviously are a heck of a dad and husband to your family. So, you know how I am, TJ, when I meet people like Chase. I mean, I just think it's great. It fuels my fire for what I do when I get in the octagon and give you everything I got to take you to that higher level, which I hope to continue to do for at least another 10 or more years. And during that 10 years, I think I'm going to see a lot of Chase Hooper going on.
I hope so.
I'm sure I will. I have no doubt. Who's your role model fighter that maybe you think about when do you have any role model fighters that you would like to emulate, or not emulate necessarily, but learn from?
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly been really lucky to be able to train with some of them. Like Ryan Hall, he invited me out there after the Caceres fight. He was like, "Hey, you want to come out and train?" And I got to fly out to Virginia and train with him. Because again, like he's one of the few purely jiu-jitsu guys. Like I looked up to him. So it was cool to be able to go out and train with him. I'd like to get out there soon. I've done a lot of training too with Wonder Boy and his team. They're great. They're great people out there.
Great guy. No question. And his dad.
Yeah, I like his dad too.
There's a perfect role model right there. That's
definitely
perfect role model right there. Awesome. Chase, it's been great having you on the show. Is there anything you want to say, promote, do anything?
No, I mean, I appreciate you having me, and you know, all the work that you do. Again, like UFC wouldn't be the same without you. And yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it, and happy to be on the show.
Thanks, Chase. I appreciate your kind words. And UFC, to my opinion, wouldn't be the same without people like you. Right? It's not about me, Chase. It's about you. It's about the fighters and the fans. And that's the way I look at it. So I look forward to continuing to roar your name for many, many years to come. And we'll see when they put that nice belt right around your waist, huh?
That'd
Just
be nice.
remember, the
sure.
world's your oyster, Chase. World's your oyster. It's what you make of it. And you're making it, you're following a nice, steady, patient pace. Very smart. Love what I see. Love what I hear. Like it a lot.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chase.
Thanks, Chase. You take care. I'll see you soon. Oh, by the way, when's your next go? Do you have an idea? Or they haven't talked to you yet?
Hopefully October, November, December, something like that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, maybe you'll wind up on the Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler card and get on.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice for sure.
That'd be very nice. Listen, you take care, Chase. I'm sure I'll see you before then. All my best to you and your family. Have a great summer. And big cheers, my man. Keep it up.
Hey,
Keep
sounds
going.
good. Thank you.
It's always refreshing to see a young fighter like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good all-American kid. You know what I mean? Knows what he wants in life, is doing it. He may not be the most flashiest, the verbose. You mentioned Conor McGregor. He's definitely not going to have that Conor McGregor outward personality. But, you know, that's a great thing about mixed martial arts is it's not only a mixture of the martial arts, it's a mixture of, personas and personalities and human beings. And Chase Hooper is one of those guys where I think a lot of quiet kids at home can sort of see themselves inside of Chase and, live vicariously through his outings in the octagon. And that's all humans want when they look at sports. They want to find a good representative of who they are and sort of cheer for that person and pull for them when they're fighting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, kudos to young fighters like Chase Hooper. There's a lot of young fighters coming up. So I'm just looking forward to seeing it. Anyway, nice having him on the show. Let's go into some news.
Let's do it.
Talk about some stuff here. Obviously, I think we need to pay homage to one of the finest, most exciting and entertaining entertainers and singers of all time, and her passing, which is the great Tina Turner, that passed away this week. Condolences and best wishes go out to her family. The Queen of Rock and Roll, as they call her, she passed away at 83 years old. She had a number of issues. She was struggling with cancer, high blood pressure, and a kidney transplant. And, she always thought, as she, in her own words, and this is something to take note for ourselves, because you want to be preventative in your outlook on medicine, the way you take care of yourself. But she felt that her body was untouchable, and indestructible.
I mean, I think a lot of people feel that until they.
A lot of people feel that way.
Get a slap across the face. I mean, what's that old saying? Like, father time is undefeated. Like, time will get you. There's no pill in the world. There's no operation in the world that will keep you alive forever. And, hopefully you come to terms with that before it comes to terms with you.
Yeah, well, she said her kidneys were victims of her high blood pressure, which she should have been treating with conventional medicine for years, which she didn't. So, without going into too much, obviously we all need to take care of ourselves. But you know what? She was so entertaining. My gosh. That
without a doubt. She's iconic.
Iconic, completely iconic. So, the great Tina Turner, she's passed. Let's pay homage to her. And a couple of the things here coming up. Dana White had talked about, I always have a hard time switching from a story like that to another story. Dana's openly said about Tyson Fury, all this talk about John Jones, Tyson Fury saying he beat John Jones.
Right.
Dana's ready to sign a deal tomorrow morning if Tyson wants to walk in the octagon.
And, that's the thing. We've seen some crossover in both sports. I mean, James Toney did make that walk into the octagon. Conor McGregor did make that walk in the boxing ring. And, credit to James Toney for stepping up and going into the octagon. But like when you look at the Toney performance and you look at Conor's performance, mixed martial artists more often than not, I think, are going to look better in the boxing ring than boxers are going to look in the octagon. And I don't think Tyson Fury is going to make that walk into the octagon anytime soon because the writing's on the wall. And he kind of knows that. He's talked a little bit about that, saying like, look, I'm a boxer. I'm not a mixed martial artist. If any boxers want to, or if any MMA fighters want to come over and box me, he seems to be open to that idea, but he does not seem to be open to the idea of actually making that walk into the octagon?
Well, depending how much money's involved, God knows he's made a lot of money. But listen, I said it before, I'll say it again. 99.9% of the champion boxers that walk in to face a champion in the octagon are going to lose.
It goes the same way as well. But people can say that Floyd played with Conor. Maybe there's some truth to that. But the bottom line is, I don't think Conor embarrassed himself. James Toney kind of embarrassed himself.
I'm sorry, I stepped on your words.
No, it's okay. James Toney kind of embarrassed himself.
Yeah, well, didn't land a single punch and got taken down by a toe hold, and then
ankle pick
or ankle. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
And with Conor, I think Conor didn't embarrass himself at all, but it kind of came out that Floyd had a bet for the over 8.5 rounds or whatever it was. And
yeah,
it was seconds when that passed, and he just like pop, and it was over.
Yeah, I mean that's revisionist history in my mind. I think that you look, if it happened a round earlier, it would have said, 7 round, whatever. Bottom line is this. I don't think that Tyson Fury is going to actually make that walk into the octagon anytime soon. If he did, I would applaud him for it, but I have no interest in seeing any mixed martial artist box him. That's just me personally.
No, I don't have any interest in that either. I mean, there was talk of Ngannou, but we know where he's at now with the PFL.
Yeah.
Anyway, talk, and we'll just keep hearing the talk.
And that's what the fight game is mostly, right? There's a lot of talk. I mean, Monday through Friday, it's talk, and Saturdays is about fighting. Hit me back when this is about a Saturday fight in a MMA octagon.
It's never reality till it's signed. Never reality. Sorry, TJ. It's never reality till it's signed on the dotted line.
And to me, Bruce, I hate to say this, as a commentator who has been contracted to do many shows, I don't feel it's real until I'm on the damn airplane.
However you want to put it, same way, same said.
Yeah.
Speaking of Conor McGregor, the McGregor Forever documentary is on TV now.
Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
It's really good. It's really good.
It is. I plan on watching it. Some friends have texted me about it, said that they really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's done well.
And also, too, the news came out today.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been out, whatever. It's interesting, but it's kind of like it's pretty cool. Dana White dropped some bomb news. He's working with Adam Sandler for a UFC comedy show.
A comedy show?
Yeah, a comedy show.
Like a television show?
Yep.
Wow.
During an interview on Pat McAfee's show, he revealed he's joined hands with Adam Sandler to create a UFC comedy show.
Okay.
Which Adams had prior experience, working with UFC because his production company produced Here Comes the Boom, which Rogan,
which was
Herdine,
great.
and I were in.
It was a great film.
He's attended more than one UFC. He's a big UFC fan. It just stands to reason that it would be a really good fit, depending on how the comedy show would be designed.
Right.
But that would be big.
Yeah, it'd be huge. Big. I'm just curious who's going to negotiate your deal.
For to be in the show?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be in the show, Bob. Okay, there you go.
I'll negotiate it.
There you go. Good man.
Why put my hands in the agents what I can do myself?
Exactly. Why part with any money when you can just get probably more for yourself, and definitely more for yourself when you're not given a percentage.
However it falls down, it'd just be an honor if I was even invited to be in the show. But
how could you not? Like Chase Hooper said, how could you not? Like the UFC wouldn't be the same without you, Buff. I'm sure that show wouldn't be the same without you as well.
I appreciate that. I love hearing that, but you know what? I'll prove to you I deserve to be in when I walk back in the octagon on June 3rd.
See, I would love a main character of a television show to be your neighbor. And then there's just what is it like to live next to Bruce Buffer? I mean, all these models coming in and out of the house. And
oh, boy.
I'm just saying.
I'll never get past that Fighters Only cover they did of me with was it popping bottles and kissing models. I don't think I'm ever going to live that one down.
I love it. And like, even if it's not, I mean, it's true, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. But even if it weren't true, that's a great storyline. Oh, did the model just walk by you right now? You look to the left. Did the model just walk by? She's leaving?
You're going to get me in trouble, TJ. That's all good. Think about however you want to think about it.
I'm kidding.
I know you are. The UFC is also partnering with ESPN to release a full-fledged documentary about the UFC. They're doing a deal right now with Roku, where they're filming the documentary behind the scenes of the UFC. There's so many things coming out. I mean, the UFC just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's just huge.
And what's interesting to me is while the UFC is celebrating its 30th year this year, there is still a whole crop of fans and even hardcore fans that don't know the entire story of the UFC and the sport of mixed martial arts and its evolution over the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's good to be told at a high level like ESPN can do.
Well, on another note, the Raiders have. I'm still talking to the Raiders about coming back and opening up games for them, or at least a home opener. But you know what would be really cool about that?
What's that?
Tom Brady just agreed to buy a minority stake in the Raiders.
I saw that. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And I tell you, after I do my thing, that's the booth I want to be in. I'd like to hang out with Tom and watch a game. That would be a lot of fun. I'm sure he'll be with Dana in his booth for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it'd just be a matter of time until you wandered in there because you're Bruce Buffer.
I'll wander in there the very first time I get the chance. Trust me.
There you go. There you go.
It'd be interesting if Tom could interject. I'm sure he would into the quarterback or the team or whatever. I mean, I could just. How great would it be just to have his influence?
Oh, seriously, yeah, yeah, just to be able to pick his brain at any moment.
Yeah. Other big sports news has come out. The Golden Knights, the big Las Vegas team, they play tomorrow night. Which is Saturday night. The show will be out, or
no, the show's going out later today, so it's Friday. We're dropping today.
They win the game. They're in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep. For the second time.
I'm already in contact with them about Michael opening up the game.
Really? I mean, why can't we have both?
Why not? Yeah, he's done it before.
So why can't we have both of you?
That's okay. Let Michael have his world.
Okay, all right. That's nice of you, Buff. That's nice of you to still.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
Michael some gig.
It's hard to turn down those kind of offers, but I'll tell you, so many things are coming in, TJ. I mean, I've had to turn down things recently. My travel schedule will not allow me to do things.
Yeah, I understand. I mean,
there's shows coming up internationally. I can't say certain ones that have not been announced. I know they announced the Sydney show.
Yeah, but you're on everywhere.
There's a lot of international shows coming up. Travel's going to be quite extensive for me.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we have teleportation yet, Buff? Why haven't we figured this out?
Do what again?
Teleportation.
Oh, please, God.
Could you imagine?
Give my right arm in theory.
Right, yeah. Someday, maybe, probably not. But yeah, I don't know. Air travel's still pretty damn impressive when you think about it. Think about it. It used to take months for people to get places, and they had to travel by like horse.
Yep, I agree.
We just get on a tube in the air and just complain to us 18 hours. It's like, yeah, but you're on the other side of the planet.
We'll see. We'll see. British cycling barred transgender women from competing in the elite female events. How do you feel about that?
Oh, this is a can of worms, Buff. I'm not going there today.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is the problem. We live in a time where we're going through so many sort of changes as society, and it's hard to figure out and hard to navigate. And yeah, I'm not smart enough to give you a hard, fast, steady opinion on that.
Well, here's a hard fact. How'd you like to be on an airline and somebody opens the emergency door when you're up at 30,000 feet?
I don't think they can.
I don't know. There was a terrifying moment on Asiana Airlines this week.
Yeah, I think they can try, but I don't think it can actually happen.
Opened it. The plane door
really?
Opened. The plane door opened.
What in the hell?
Yep, they were. It was about. Here's the thing. It wasn't as high up because there's a point where you open up the door and you're going to get sucked out of that opening.
Yeah. Okay. So this plane was like descending.
It was just they were taking up. You opened up the door 700 feet off the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
2 to 3 minutes from landing. They were landing. Right.
Oh my God.
That's crazy. You know, and obviously the guy's been arrested. I mean,
yeah.
200 people on board.
What are you doing?
200 people on board.
Was he hammered drunk?
I don't know. It hasn't come out yet, but he faces 10 years in prison, and I think he deserves every single year they can throw at him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You got to figure something out there because that's just no sane person does that.
Yeah. Speaking of prison, another story came out. A California man who served 33 years in prison is now free after new evidence came out.
Oh God.
33 years, TJ.
Yeah.
I wonder how much he's going to sue the state for.
And honestly, Bruce, can you give someone enough money to make up for 33 years of their life being taken from them?
No, can't.
I mean, do you know how old this guy is? Like, that's probably over half his life.
I'd have to look down this, but it doesn't say.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's just terrible. It's terrible to think about it. And speaking of prison, with the January 6th assault on the White House and everything, they just gave a Army veteran and Oath Keepers member, Jessica Watkins, 8.5 years. 8.5 years.
Wow. I mean, they're not playing around, and you can't really, around. You know, there's no real room for being lenient with anybody that tries to take over the United States Capitol, in my opinion.
I know. I know. Shannon Sharp's a little lighter. He loves good jewelry. They just robbed his house, got $1 million in jewelry from his home.
Wow.
$1 million.
I mean, it's one thing to break into someone's home. We've talked a lot about that, about these celebrities being on TV and basically becoming huge marks for robbers because I know you're there, so you're not there. I'm going to go break in your house. I mean, if you got $1 million in jewelry on hand, why is it not in a safe that can't be removed?
I don't know. That's all depends on the individual, but he's offering a $50,000 reward for any information that goes on that. So if any of you have any information out there, get a hold of Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, good luck.
Schwarzenegger's back on TV with his new TV show on Netflix called FUBAR.
Yeah, FUBAR. I just interviewed Travis Van Winkle, who is one of the co-stars of that series. We talked a little bit about it. Is it a movie or is it a television show? I thought it was a movie.
Series.
Okay, that's good. Awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out because the plot sounded pretty amazing. Travis Van Winkle, a huge UFC fan as well. Maybe we can get him on the show.
You know what? Go to work on it. I'd love to have him on the show.
Yeah,
definitely. It's an eight episode series.
Okay,
kind of like
awesome.
Stallone, with his Tulsa King, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Has Arnold done anything like this, a series before?
No, he's never done a series.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, well.
And Arnold's always enjoyable. That's for sure. Here are a couple collectible notes before we sign off. Wayne Gretzky's final jersey from his final his final NHL game.
Was that with the Kings?
It was with the Rangers.
Rangers. No, really?
Yeah.
I thought he was okay. I'll
Jersey.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, it's the Jersey NHL legend. They go Wayne Gretzky wore the final game of his historic career.
Okay.
Being offered publicly for the first time. Let's see if they say here what it's going to go for. They don't know, but that's going to go for a lot of money.
Who's auctioning it?
Gray Flannel Auctions, who does a lot of sports auctions.
All right. I mean,
he ranked up his 2,857th point with an assist in that game.
You think it goes over $1 million?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's easily $500,000 to $1 million jersey.
We'll see. I mean, he's got to be the greatest hockey player of all time.
And as far as stats and everything, I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, probably. I'll go conservative and say it does 650,000.
I'll ride with that. I'll ride with that. Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia dress from Star Wars.
Oh man, was that up for auction?
That's up for auction too,
dude.
They expect that to go between $1 and $2 million.
Yeah, easily.
Staggering.
Yeah.
Staggering. Let's see the other the evil clown doll from Steven Spielberg's 82 film Poltergeist. I don't know if you ever saw that or not.
Haven't seen it, but I'm familiar.
Just goes to show you how much this stuff goes for. 200,000 to 400,000. There's a lot of stuff here.
Do you have any of your suits separated from any of your television or film appearances?
What do you mean?
Like I wore this suit in this film or anything like that? Because I mean, those suits have got to be worth a little bit extra more money in the collectible market if you ever part with them.
Yeah, they are. The only one that I can pinpoint, I have to go back and look at it and then match it up with the suit. But the UFC 100, where I did the 360.
Right.
Yeah, I have that suit and shoes.
Nice.
And the original announcing cards and all of that. I was thinking about putting it up for auction for charity, but I'll just keep holding on to it.
I mean, the longer you hold on to it, the more value there is with it.
I'm not running anywhere soon,
Right, exactly.
Got to keep gathering value. I just need a bigger closet.
I bet. I mean, how many suits do you have?
Rogan asked me that at the last show, and I'd have to guess, but I mean, definitely over 70.
Okay. And how many are quote unquote retired in your mind?
Probably maybe about 20.
That's a lot then. So you have like 50 active suits that you can choose from.
Yeah, 50 or more. I can't give you an exact figure. I go home, put it to the back of the rack. It works.
But you're also still getting new suits. That hasn't stopped.
No, I'm having a beauty made up for July 8th, big UFC coming up.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. Listen, I don't know if I announced in the show, but Puncher's Chance now. For those of you living in the Midwest, Myers.
Yep.
The Myers stores, the Myers supermarkets.
Yep.
There's over 200 of them. So Puncher's Chance now available in Indiana, Michigan, Kentucky, Illinois, and Wisconsin.
That's great.
And again, as I said before, but it's amazing, TJ. It's time cologne. Still the top selling cologne on Amazon in the USA and like number 5 in the
I'm
UK.
not. I no longer want to talk about it because I still haven't
I know
smelled
you
it.
still haven't received it yet.
So
That's okay. I'm still waiting for my supply. I didn't have any more. I was on Chris Cuomo's show yesterday and on another big show that I went in personally, and I wanted to bring in a bottle of cologne. I looked, I go, I've given all my stuff away. I got like one package left, and I gotta maintain it here. There it is.
I'm bummed out, Buff.
Don't be bummed. You'll be happy.
All right.
All right, TJ, let's sign off. Oh, we want to thank medicaleverything.com, our sponsor on the show. Please check out medicaleverything.com for news and how to take care of yourself, because it's all important.
There you go.
I can't say more than that. I don't have a story quote from it. Just go to medicaleverything.com and check it out.
All right. Done. Enjoy
right,
your
TJ, what's
Memorial
up?
Day weekend.
Yeah. Pardon me?
Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
You enjoy it too. Enjoy your barbecue. Enjoy everything else. Kristen had me over her house last night with the family for a belated birthday dinner. It was absolutely delicious. Her husband's
Awesome.
incredible on the barbecue. So it was nice being with my extended, wonderful family.
Great.
And, still celebrating and just enjoying life.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
What's up?
Follow me on Twitter at TJ DeSantis, Instagram as well, at TJ DeSantis. You can check out Extra Rounds and all the other podcast content I'm doing over on UFC Fight Pass.
Fantastic. And as always with everybody, be the best you can be a role model to your sphere of influence. Whatever you're doing in life, whatever you want to do in life that you're passionate about, you're moving forward. When you step on that yellow brick road, just have the knowledge you need and be the best you can be, because then you're winning. And that's what we're all about on It's Time Radio. Positive energy and winning. And
It's time to win, Bob.
all of our wonderful listeners. What was that?
I said it's time to win.
It's time to win. For sure. It's time to win. Okay, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy your Memorial Day. Enjoy your barbecue. Eat all you want. Drink all you want. Have a great time. Celebrate life. Summer's coming. Enjoy. Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Chase Hooper. Thank you all for listening. Love you all. Big cheers. No fears to everyone out there. And Buffer is out.